especially because of Skype and emails. And I spent 3 months a year at the Weizmann Institute in Israel. And I do far more at the Weizmann Institute than I could if I never went there. So in terms of his investment, 9 months at Stanford and 3 months at Weizmann produces far more benefit than 12 months at Stanford. And I think this is the way in which our academic community is evolving. I'm simultaneously a professor at MIT, at MIE, at Skolkovo Tech, and at Tsinghua. Right? We're becoming mobile in this way. So I think that certainly initially we'll be sort of flexible in our thinking in this regard, without making any specific policy.
Professor Crawley, thank you for listening to the lecture and presentation of the result of NASA research. And I have a fundamental question about the real reason for governments, for humankind to land it on the Mars surface. So, I mean that there are a lot of problems on the Earth: terrorism, economic problems, crisis, and something like this. So, and is it good idea to spend a lot of money, dozens of billions, on this great, really great program to land it on the Mars, or it's better to spend this money to decide problem on the Earth? What do you think? What's the right thing to do?
Well, this would be the question that the president would ask. So maybe you'll be the president. Governments invest in many things. They invest in defense, they invest in agriculture, they invest in education. You have to view this as a portfolio. And one of the things they invest in is science and technology. So when you think about the investment in science and technology, you say how much, what distribution, how much in health, how much in physical science, how much in mathematical science. But there are very few aspects of science that appeal to the people as much as the exploration space. There's wonderful accelerators at CERN, but if you walked around Moscow or London or Washington and asked the average American or British or Russian person, what's the newest achievement at CERN, they would have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, even though we know that scientifically those are very important results. So I think it's important to have a part of the investment in science and in technology, which is, let's say, very visible to the people, that inspires people, that inspires especially the youth, and which has other benefits. The benefit of developing technology which is used on the Earth, the benefit of stimulating education, the benefit of international cooperation. The other law I teach my students about spaceflight is that all successful human spaceflight programs have been fundamentally instruments of foreign policy. They've either been competitive programs or they've been cooperative programs. And the space station program in the United States is a strong example. The space station program in the United States, before it was combined with the Russian program, was just barely supported by the Congress. And after it was combined with the Russian program, every year went through the Congress with no problem at all. That the role of space as a mechanism for peaceful, meaningful, deep scientific and technical collaboration of nations, I think is an aspect which gives people hope. And hope is an important thing to have for people.
Благодарю вас за очень интересное сообщение. Можно по-русски выразиться? И у меня два экзотических вопроса достаточно, но я думаю, что они, во-первых, будут интересны широкой аудитории, а во-вторых, тем более интересно выслушать ответ на них от профессионалов. Первый вопрос, собственно, вот он не самый важный, но тем не менее, лишний раз вы сказали о том, как много денег требует даже лунный проект, и постоянно в прессе время от времени муссируется вопрос, летали ли вообще американцы на Луну, и как у них тогда нашлись на эти деньги. Это первый вопрос. А если это так много стоит, ну действительно, профессионал должен ответить, в конце концов, и расставить точки над «и». А второй вопрос, более существенный просто второй. Спасибо.
So, let me give you the best explanation of why I'm sure that the Americans were on the moon. Is that you can't keep a secret in the American government. You see? So that if in fact the Americans weren't on the moon, someone would write a book by now. That's my first answer. My second answer is that 12 Americans walked on the moon, and I know about 9 of them because of my job within the U.S. space program. Personally, would any moment one of them might call on my cell phone. Good friends. So, you know, I've listened to their stories and listened to the emotion in their voice when they talk about what it was like to be on the moon. And sometimes it's absolutely surprising, things they say. And you could never have made this up in a movie theater. So let me give you an example. I was talking once with Buzz Aldrin, who's a graduate of my department at MIT. Second man on the moon, Armstrong and all that. And I said, so Buzz, after you went out and did the walk on the surface, what were you thinking about? What did you do for the next 8 hours? And he said, from the moment we landed, we thought about nothing but leaving the surface. Because we were so worried that the rocket engine wouldn't start. So I said, let me get this, let me understand this. That the whole world wanted to be with you on the surface of the moon. And all you wanted to do was leave. He said, absolutely correct. You couldn't make this up. You know, this is real human emotion. So perhaps I'm blessed by having known these guys personally. But I believe them.
Я вам верю. Да, верю, благодарю вас за компетентное заключение. Это очень хотелось услышать. Вот. И второй вопрос, собственно, вот по поводу исследований будущих программ. Я упомянула, что он тоже экзотический, но в то же время в нем будущее. Что из, как скажем, связанное с внеземными цивилизациями, что из этих вопросов доступных в исследованиях реальных, заложено, так сказать, в ваших программах? Благодарю вас.
Well, if I understand your question correctly, I would say that there's a great deal of research and development on the Earth which has to be done to the Earth, of course. I think these are very practical and pragmatic issues. You know, I think that the people who work in this don't think about the possibility of other options, of other issues.